Like, since you were born, have you ever felt that you were born to do something beyond just your own life? To do something that will contribute to humanity as a whole? Maybe just the humanity that you're exposed to, like your family or your friends, or even something greater than that, like your gender and the people that you associate with, your ethnicity, and your background. If you've always felt this within you, you are not alone. And the reason why you feel it is because there is a oneness. And that is what we're going to be digging in today, the oneness of all. So without further ado, let's get to it. Hey, this is John Penny. If this is your first time visiting my channel, make sure you click on the subscribe button, and also subscribe to my channel so you can stay in tune for every video that I put out every week. I put one every Sunday. The purpose of this series called Oneness is to show you that we are all one. And at the end of this journey, I am hoping that you will be able to see that there is a connection between you and everything that you know. I don't know why, but I have always been able to feel things deeply. People, animals, nature. I've always had a deep connection with things. Now, I wasn't some sort of activist, nor am I an activist that's like fighting for uh, animals or anything like that. But it's just something that is innate in me that for the people that I was extremely familiar with, I couldn't stand suffering being caused upon them or anything or anyone that I was aware of to have a similarity with me, such as my family, my friends, pets, or things that I had a connection with, or people that I had a connection with. It was really hard for me to see them being put through suffering because it felt almost like I felt it as well. So here's an example. Let me tell you a story. When I was a young boy, maybe 4 or 5 years old, me and my brother used to go out and play. And we would go out in the neighborhood and play soccer with the older kids in the neighborhood. My brother had a condition that was very obvious physically. And when you saw him, that's the first thing you would notice about him. And some of those boys started making fun of him, almost ridiculing his condition and making him to be less valuable because he had a condition that made him stand out from everyone else. And I remember in that moment getting so hurt and so angry that tears started running down my eyes. And I was ready to fight these people and just rip their heads off because in me, I couldn't understand how another being couldn't see the loving, kind heart, the being that my brother was. I couldn't understand how people were devaluing his existence because of something that they saw. But they weren't acknowledging how beautiful of a soul he was, how caring he was, how protective he was, and how much he was always willing to give to others before himself. And that would infuriate me. That was the kind of society and the kind of world that I lived in. But I was just connected with my brother deeply like that I felt that way. I'm not sure if he felt the same because I remember looking over to him, despite the fact that I was crying and I was angry, he seemed not to be affected by it. Maybe he just never showed it. But I think he was affected. And I also remember growing up, my cousin used to have a dog and they named him Big. For some reason, some unfortunate circumstances, he acquired a bacteria or some sort of flesh-eating disease that started eating away his face. And you could almost see the bone and part of his insides. Very graphic. But I remember that my cousin and his family came to the conclusion that they had to put him down because they felt that he was suffering and it was dangerous for him. Being born in Congo, in Central Africa, you can Google it, the vets that you have in America that you take your dogs to put down are not available. So they took matters into their own hands to put him down. And he had asked me if I wanted to help. At the time, I was young and I had no comprehension of any idea of oneness or whatsoever. I just knew that I was going to help my cousin, who I had a stronger connection with than I had with the dog, Big. After catching him, I remember them pretty much restraining his head between the door frame of a metal door and a metal door, and using a pipe, really long one, huge, heavy, about 25 to 30 pounds. I remember my cousin lifting it up and slamming it right on Big's head. And in that moment, I heard a cry that shriveled my being. It went to the deepest part of my core. It wasn't like a language that humans speak that I can understand, but it was a feeling that it gave me. It gave me the feeling of despair, the feeling of absolute fear and pain and confusion. And that shook me in that moment, and I never understood why I felt that way. But it was familiar to me, and I recognized it. I recognized it enough that I couldn't bear standing there knowing what was happening. Something about it felt wrong, but I didn't know what it was. So I told my cousin that I wasn't going to stick around and I was going to watch it, so I was going to bail on him. And I started walking away. And as I would walk away, the next thing I would hear is boom, followed by a scream. And it almost sounded like a human being screaming. Never sounded like a dog. And in that moment, almost every single time I heard this scream, it felt like something that it felt like a being that I knew. It wasn't about him being a dog and me being a human, but it felt like there was another being that was suffering. And that's what that cry conveyed to me. And I just kept walking up the road. And as I would walk up the road, I would keep hearing in sequence the bang. And Big would scream. And then another bang, and he would scream. And with every scream, you could feel that he was losing life, and he was losing hope. Until all I heard was just the bang, and Big wasn't screaming anymore. And it's almost like I knew that he was gone. But not just the dog, but there was something in him that I could recognize in myself, which was that he feels despair and he feels pain. And I feel despair and I feel pain. And it didn't matter to me right then that he was a dog and I was a human being. But in that moment, that's all that came to me. That there was another being that was alive and it felt despair, just like I did. So that made me realize that I grew up in a world, in a society that taught me that it's always about one being better than another in order for you to feel fulfilled and content with your existence. That there's this need to be better than another in order for your existence to have any value. It's always about that I am better than this person because of. I'm better than this person because of the family I come from. I'm better than this person because of the culture I come from. I'm better than this person because of the religion that I believe. I'm better than this person because of the objects that I own. I'm better than this person because of the title that I hold. I'm better than this person because of the way I look. Physical characteristics. It's as though society is always about, and this idea of me comparing to everything else. And of course, don't get me wrong, these differences are absolutely true and necessary. They are necessary to the process of life because it gives us the diversity that makes this whole experience that we call life worthwhile. Because if everybody was identical to the T, then there would be no point. Everything would be the same and there would be no difference. Yet, the core of differences is not to make one better than the other, but the gift that is the differences, the uniqueness, is to give each individual a different perspective to experience life from. That's it. That's the reason why some people are rich and some people are poor. That's the reason why some people are stronger than others. That's the reason why some people are faster than others. Some people look different compared to others. Some people do things differently compared to others. It is not because one is better than the other, but it's because the polarity creates the experience that you won't know what it feels like to be one unless there is the other. So it's never been about what's better or what's worse. It's always been about different perspectives. And that's how our differences serve us. Our differences don't make us better than anybody else. They simply make us different. So despite the fact that the world raised me to believe in the idea of self, me, my, mine, and it does serve its purpose, it is also true for the idea of oneness and unity. That rings just as true. The idea of the collective, the idea of the we, of the ours, of the us, was just as true. And I could see it despite the fact that me and my brother were different people, and we are different beings in different bodies, different awarenesses, and different consciousness. There was something that connected me to him. Something about the fact that he felt emotions just like I did. He felt love. And the fact that he had needs just like I did. And the fact that he shared love and wanted to experience life and wanted to experience the freedom of being whoever that he is. I could relate to that. And that created that bond. And I have always had that knowing with the people that I know and the people that I came to meet along my life. A knowing that there was something that I had in me that I could see in them. And that there's something that they had in them that I could see within myself. And that connected us. And that's the same for my cousin's dog, Big. The differences remain true. He was a dog, and I am a human being. And he is different from me. Physically, psychologically, scientifically, and even socially. But we also have similarities. I can feel pain, and so can he. I can feel joy and happiness, and so can he. Now, our ways of expressing this emotion may be shown in different physical ways, but I am aware that we have that in common. And that started to teach me that if I looked hard enough into everything that is in the world, no matter how different it seemed from me, or how much better or less that the societies of the world says it is from me, I will find similarities that they have in them or it that also exist within me. And to me, those similarities are just as much a part of God as the differences and the uniqueness that we each hold as human beings or beings that exist. If not even more God than the differences. And I truly believe that what is wrong with humanity today is that there is an overflood of the awareness of self, of the ego, of the individuality, of the differences, of the uniqueness and judgment. That there is a lack of awareness of the oneness and the wholeness. And this has been passed down through the generations in the form of culture, traditions, and programming, which makes us believe that all of existence and the world revolves around ourselves. And there's a lack of awareness that we are part of a whole, that our existence is not only to serve ourselves, but to serve a collective that is far greater than ourselves. And deep down, I feel like we all have this feeling that we are all connected and that our individuality is here to serve something that is far greater than ourselves. And this is the reason why I started this series, where I'll be sharing with you my journey to gaining awareness of the concept and the idea and the belief of the oneness and the collective. And hoping that by the end of this series, that you will realize that you and I are all just a we. And that maybe, just maybe, we can change the world. If this message was helpful to you, make sure you share it with someone that you feel like this would be good for. The world is awakening and knowledge is spreading. So share with someone that you feel that it could help gain awareness of something beyond themselves. And if you haven't already, make sure you click on that subscribe button. Click on the bell as well. Smash the like because it does help me quite a bit. I am John Penny of Awakened Soul Tribe. My goal with this channel is to provide you with knowledge because knowledge is power. Power to free yourself. But the question is, do you want to?